This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
One of the other significant problems in Abraham's life was that Sarah was barren. She couldn't have children. And that must have really puzzled Abraham, because God had promised him that he would be the father of a great nation. And yet he couldn't have children with his wife. And it was just, it devastated him. And it was such a significant part of the story of Abraham as you read and study the life of Abraham. Every few verses it alludes to this, that Sarah was barren, couldn't have children. And Sarah deals with his fear in this particular chapter, chapter 20. Here was Sarah, who was a cultural outcast. She was apparently a very beautiful woman, but she was a cultural outcast because in that culture, if you couldn't have children, you were deadwood. You were worth nothing. And so he's married to this woman that he loves, who cannot have children. And God has said, I'm going to give you a child through Sarah, but Sarah cannot conceive, and it is this horrible conflict in his life. And he finally, in chapter 20 with King Abimelech, he finally confronts this issue. And he prays, because Abimelech had asked him to pray for him. And he prays, and after Abraham deals with his fear at the end of chapter 20, look how chapter 21 begins. Right after essentially after the Amen, chapter 21 starts, and this is how chapter 21 starts. Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah, as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised, and Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age at the very time God had promised him. You see, God is greater than your fear. And when you are able to overcome that fear, it sets you free to let God do the things that he wants to do in and through your life. As Abraham was set free from that fear in his life, it freed God up to do what he wanted to accomplish through Abraham. When you choose, and it is a choice, to do things God's way, you find victory over the things that control you. That was pretty good. Let me say it again. When you choose to do things God's way, you find victory over the fear that controls you.
Here am I.